Welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Chase Holden, your host, joined by Dale Tanhardt as always. And today we have a special guest on the show, a man that runs with Smoke and the boys at SHR. He's been lighting it up on the Spotify playlist this year, probably the most talked about Spotify Garage Jams playlist that we've had. And he's the driver of the number 41 Ford Mustang for SHR. It's Mr. Ryan Preece. Ryan, thank you so much for being on the show. You got a nice little garage right there, man. I saw a car on the roof a little bit ago. What's that about?
Oh yeah. No, so a fan actually made that car. Like it's actually what it is a little wagon, but because I come from open wheel modified, they make like wagons that look like modified. Well, when I first moved down here in 2019, they wanted to bring me something, and that something happened to be their first ever modified wagon, which was the championship car that I won with back in 2017. So I had it down here, and instead of it sitting on the floor, I wanted to hang it from the roof.
How often are you still doing any wheeling, or maybe not wheeling, but just any kind of modified racing? I know that's your background, and it's always been talked about your roots up in Connecticut. How often are you still doing that kind of stuff?
You know, so my father and I, we both own a modified each, and one's a modified tour, the Wheelen Modified Tour car, legal car, and then one's an open show car. But this year, I decided to step back and really focus on the Cup car and putting all my efforts to that because there's so much more that I wanted to do to keep growing that 41 team this year. And so to answer that question, I guess none this year, unfortunately. The racer in me, the guy that's always blasting Gangster Rap in the shop at about 1 in the morning, has been really, really dying this year. But at the same time, it's a totally different adventure and one that I've really enjoyed. And we're continuing to build.
I love that, man. And that's the thing too. Like going into the Wheeling Modifieds, we ain't gonna talk too much about this, but there was a reason that I picked you to win qualifying at Martinsville, and it's because of all of the years of hype I've seen you at Martinsville, the Wheeling Modified stuff. There was definitely a correlation with that in the short track. So when it got around to Martinsville, and I definitely want to dive into that because that was an awesome accomplishment that weekend. It was good for you, good for me too. But
Yeah.
I wanted to say with the Wheeling Modifieds, man, like, you ever feel like Mad Max driving one of those because of the way they look, dude? I mean, that car just looks like it's in a dystopian future, just got guns on the top of it, the way it look. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
ready for just savagery, you know?
Yeah, man. Us from the Northeast. What's interesting about modifieds is there's different types of them throughout the country, and modifieds kind of have a bad rap when it comes to the Southeast, out west. They got skinny tires, and everybody kind of looks at them like they're not an elite division. But then you go to the Northeast, and they're just badass race cars. They're 2,600 pounds, 700 horsepower, and you drive the heck out of them. So it's just I come from a discipline and really that part of the country. What I love the most about modified racing and being up there, and it's really just there's so much passion and the rawness of it. I tell everybody that's never been to a modified race, like if they've been to a World of Outlaw race, it's a different level, right? World of Outlaws 410 sprint cars are around the country in the dirt world. Like that's it. That's the elite series. Well, up in the Northeast, the modifieds has like a smaller vibe of that. So, but yeah, man, yeah, every time I strap up and get that car going, I do feel pretty badass.
Speaking of badass, look, I don't know if this is a Northeast thing because me and Chase talk a lot on our podcast how we're predominantly rap guys when it comes to our music choice, and we're pretty infatuated by as Chase mentioned your choice in music, which you had a great playlist that I'm looking at here on the Garage Jams Ryan Preece edition. You're a big rap guy as well. How did you get into that kind of culture, into that kind of music?
So it's so odd because my father wasn't into it. But so I started racing for this guy in Connecticut who owned a chassis company, and I had never really listened to Gangster Rap before, but he introduced me to NWA and there would just be lines that he'd spit at me, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he just we just started blaring it at the shop, and we'd be working. Typically we wouldn't. It was always on a scale night, and we wouldn't get to the shop to scale the car until the night before at like 8 o'clock at night, and we'd go till 2, 3 in the morning. So we'd have some good times. Like Nothing But a G Thing was always like top of the list for us.
That sounds. You know who else said that? Ryan and Chase. Mark Martin said the same thing. Mark Martin got into rap music. He said it was the same kind of way. Being at the shop, his crew guys were playing it, and now he's like obsessed. That's funny. Well, how old were you?
Oof. So I was 19. I was probably 19, 20 years old, which, for me, music, it's just something to like in the background, right? When you were working, and a lot of it before that was probably Pantera or in that genre. But then when I started listening to Gangster Rap, like you could really get going. And when you're working, it's just, you really get into it.
It's high energy.
That's
for sure.
That's a correlation that I have found, because like me growing up, like with metal music, I was big into metal. I was big into Pantera, Slayer. I mean, we could go, the list goes on and on, Metallica, whatever. But like I found that there's a lot of people that are into that, and that are into that kind of like the screamo era. I think you and I are probably around the same age, maybe a little bit younger, but like the 05, 06 era, when like that music was taking over the transition. Rap all gets lumped into that. So like usually you find like somebody that's hardcore into like gangster rap and stuff, they're also going to be into the metal, and it's got to be like a lyric. And I think that's another important aspect of it. It's just like once you start listening to it and you start really hearing the words and what they're saying, there's so much truth in a lot of it, man.
Yeah. And, to that point, so I spent a lot of my time in race shops as a kid because my father raced, not at an elite level. He raced a late model at a local racetrack, and our town in Berlin it's kind of like this place that you wouldn't think a lot of racers were from, but man, there's a lot of racers from that town. So I spent a lot of time going from, race shop to race shop or fab shop, and, that culture of racers kind of being the outlaw style that blends in with gangster rap and just kind of some of the lyrics that go with it. So it's I guess that's why I've kind of gravitated towards it too. Same thing with like drag racing and all that stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Who's the greatest rapper of all time?
Man,
or top three? Could you give a top three?
Yeah, I like Ice Cube. I like some of him. I'm old, like I like old school stuff. It really just depends. West Side Connection, obviously, because of Shook, or not Gangster Nation, and then I don't know. I mean, really, I don't really have a specific artist that I say, man, I'm gonna play him right now. But
really,
Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, like, they're all go-tos. I don't have a specific one that I necessarily say, man, I'm going to listen to him over him. It's just, that's why I like that playlist on Garage Jams. I'm able to pull different songs from all over the place and be like, all right, I throw up Garage Jams when I'm in my shop all the time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we see. Yeah, I mean, just for anybody that hadn't listened to it, I mean, we got Kid Cudi on here, Mac Miller, the Machine Gun. Oh,
because I'm terrible at this. Like, I was terrible in school, so whenever I'm asked a question, I freeze up. But like Biggie, you guys notice every time on Instagram I throw Biggie in there, right?
Yeah.
And
the day
a lot of people.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but the day you sent me that DM with like you were talking about getting ready, you and Harvick, dude. Oh my god, dude, it killed me. He sends me a picture of Tupac and Biggie. He was like, "We ready?" He was like, "Me and Harvick." I was just like, I was like, everything is on the line today. I was like, let's go.
Well, it's funny because Delana, his wife, I'll message her because she likes she has an interest in the same music I do, so I'll send her stuff like that all the time. But for sure, like that's what a lot of people, when we were at LA and I was throwing up Biggie music because I'm East Coast, like up in the Northeast, and some people are like, "You're in California, you're on West Coast." I'm like, "Nah, I'm truly from Connecticut, man. I'm just visiting. I'm throwing up some Biggie."
Dude, I feel that, man. Were you a fan of the Notorious movie? Did you think that they did Biggie well in that film? Did you get to watch it?
You talking about Notorious, like the movie?
Notorious, yeah. You think you think that guy portrayed him pretty well?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't read into. The only thing I know about him is that movie, and then his music, right? So I feel like they did a pretty good job. Yeah.
It was a good film for sure. I like to think back to like what would NASCAR have been like if like we would have had Biggie and Tupac come to races. Like why? Like imagine the photos of that. Like we look back, right? Like they got the new NASCAR Classics now on the NASCAR.com site, which is amazing. You can watch all of the old races. But just imagine, like, I see like these old photos of like Bill Elliott with like Batman shaking hands by the old Thunderbird or whatever. I just think about like how amazing it would be just to see like Biggie and Tupac with their hands in their pockets on pit road, like watching
standing next to Jeff Gordon,
or Mark Martin. Mark Martin would be pumped.
Oh yeah, dude, we still got to get Gucci Mane. We still got to find a way to get Gucci Mane out there for Mark. That is still one of the most fascinating things in my lifetime is that Mark Martin is such a gigantic Gucci Mane fan because he got into it because his kids were listening to it, or his son was.
So he's the one who actually, like, I saw him posting stuff on Gucci, so I started listening to him too. So I'll send him little on stuff on Instagram because I think you guys know he's pretty active on there, and I'll send him. What is it? My favorite Gucci song is "Both Eyes Closed." I like that one. That actually hasn't made the playlist, so maybe I need to add that one. But
he's got so many songs, dude. He's got so many mixtape. I mean, like he's the definition of just like self-made hustler when it comes to like music. So it's tough to choose favorites with him, man. He just signed some new guy I saw yesterday on like Daily Loud. He was talking about how he signed this like white kid out of a trailer park in Florida. Kid was spitting though, man. He was getting down. I liked it. But with that being said, like obviously, you know, you can't listen to music in the car. You know, that's why we made garage jams, because it was like my vision for that was like, all right, this is like music you would listen to while you was like getting down with it. You're setting up a car, you're racing, whatever else. It would be a cool thing to say, but or to see, or you know, for you guys to have, but y'all got to be focused in there, man. And I mean, the focus is alone has to be wild. Like with somebody like Tony Stewart as your boss, man, what's that focus like for you? Like coming in, you've had a pretty extensive career in NASCAR. Now you're running with SHR. This deal that you've gotten with the 41 car, like how did everything come to be with that? Like how are things going? And like, you know, like why did Tony reach out to you? Did you reach out to Tony? Like, and how's that relationship?
So I think a lot of it really came down to JTG was going down to one team, right? So they were losing a charter. And to me, my next opportunity, I wanted to be somewhere that, you know, like I leaned on Kevin a lot. I've been lucky enough to have him as a teammate and somebody that I could really bounce stuff off of. So I wanted to be part of an organization that was part of a manufacturer, specifically Ford. Just because for me, I've been a Ford guy all my life, and that was just a bucket list thing. And SHR was a place that Greg Zipadelli's from Connecticut, from my hometown actually, and I never really had a relationship with him, but I wanted to be there because it felt like that racer vibe. So going into 2022, I didn't really have a job. I didn't know where I was going to go. I probably could have went to, you know, a lower funded Cup car or an Xfinity car or whatever it may have been. But my goals in racing are to be win and accomplish things. And you know, when a lot of people see me go to the short track side of things, I'm a threat to win no matter what it is. And just because I'm in a Cup car doesn't make that any different. So I wanted to be able to build a program around myself. And that's where the simulator stuff kind of came from, to get my foot in the door over there and really start establishing partners to come together to make things happen. So luckily, you know, United Rentals, racechoice.com, Mohawk, and the list goes on and on and on. That's just been a process of, you know, 16 to 24 months of building my relationships or using the relationships that I've had before and really figuring out a way that, like, how can they benefit from working with me? And obviously you've seen that. And then going into the other side, you know, our short track stuff's been pretty sick. Like we can't deny that, man. Like LA, I felt like if we don't have that fuel pump go, we could be talking about a win. And that's tough to swallow. And then we were able to get a pole and lead a bunch of laps at Martinsville until, you know, we sped on pit road and felt like we cost us a shot to race for that win. So we've had some highs. for sure. Like Bristol dirt, I don't race dirt. We were fast, like we were really good. And there's certainly been some frustrations, like Daytona, the super speedway stuff, Talladega. Like we've had really fast race cars. So I knew going into the year that the mile and a half stuff could be a struggle, not only from my point of view, but just some of the other stuff. So you got to take your good with your bads, and you just continue to work on your weaker areas. So my hope is going into these last 11 races that we can truly show what we've built. And yeah, we've made mistakes, but I felt like Richmond was a showing of, hey, if we show up and we have a fast car and we do all the things right going into the race, we can execute a race. We can put a race together and we can be a threat. So, I believe that in my heart. I wouldn't put everything I have into my career and racing if I didn't believe that. So, my next 11 to 10 races, I feel like we can show something to everybody and really show them what we have.
Whether it's the end of this year or next year or any time while you're in the Cup Series, we'll start with this year. In these final 11 races, what do you got circled? What's the one track you want to circle and say, yeah, we're going to go there and we're going to be really good?
Well, I think, if I'm only allowed to pick one, I'm going to say Martinsville, right? Our whole organization was good at Richmond. We were really good at Richmond earlier this year, or Martinsville earlier this year. So that's the easy one to pick, not only from SHR's standpoint, the cars we have, the speed we have, but also my background. Like, I'm aggressive and I'm a fighter. So when it comes to a place like Martinsville where you got to knuckle up and be ready, that's where I'm really excited to get to. But Bristol, Talladega, I really enjoy the super speedway racing, even though I've been getting smacked in the head quite a few times here the past few years, but I'm getting better at it, and I've done a lot of prep work going into this weekend. So I hope a different point of view of how I need to attack this one can pay off.
I love that, man. Yeah, we, especially this weekend, you got extra energy with your sponsor, with them having the colors that they have too. So yeah, got a little of that GG energy on there. I like that. We talk about the short tracks, right? Short tracks in NASCAR Cup Series with the Gen 7 car has been a very heavily talked about thing, right? Like, it's just, what do we have to do to make these short tracks better? In a year where you guys seem to have some things figured out pretty much setup-wise or whatever it may be, just your driver talent alone, what do you think it's going to take for NASCAR to be able to get these cars ready to go and put on a great show for everybody at the short tracks?
So I guess it really just depends on what the definition of great show is. Are we looking for super speedway style passing from a guy going, battle every lap, or are we looking for comers and goers? So as a race car driver, I've learned that there's different styles of shows that we can put on, but the show that seems to be missed by a lot of people is the strategic side of a race car driver with tire wear. So there's cars that obviously are really, really fast, right? Then there's cars that, like, if you got a 5th or a 6th place car, well, there's something that I can do as a driver and back up that pace. That way at lap 15, 20, 30, I'm going forward, where that guy that decided to go 100% and burn off his tires in 30 laps, he's going backwards. And that's where it creates excitement. So for us as drivers, what we've been working with Goodyear on is hey, we want to have these cars have a bunch of grip the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 laps, but I want them to fall based off tire wear and not tire heat. Tire heat should create the tire wear, but we're just working on that balance, because you don't want to have a tire come apart. Right. And us teams and drivers, we're going to push that tire to the absolute limit. So I think that would probably move the needle the most. But at the same time, in my personal opinion, I want more horsepower. I want 1,200 horsepower. I want you guys to see me swinging elbows in there, doing all I can, separating me from everybody else watching it on TV.
Look, we share that frustration. I like the direction that NASCAR is going in, with the Gen 7 and everything, not even just with the race car, but just with the sport as a whole. But I think we all can kind of share that frustration. We would it seems like we all would like to see more horsepower and, of course, a tire that falls off. I feel like that's a common thing amongst a lot of the drivers. You're probably not the first I've heard say that. So I'm with you there. We're with you there. As we get into, we're going to take a dramatic shift here because we talk about the racing, we talk about the Gen 7 a lot, and like you said, there's a lot of good, there's a lot of frustrating. It's with it too. But at this time of year, you get into the playoffs, the season's coming to a close. In the process of that, we get into some other sports, right? We get NFL football back. We get college football back. So I want to know, is Ryan Preece a big sports guy when it comes to NFL, college football, baseball, basketball? What are some of your other interests? Like once the season's over, once we start winding down, what is Ryan Preece getting into?
Man, to be honest with you, I enjoy sports. Like I have friends that are like you guys and love college football, NFL. So I have teams. Like I'm from New England, so you're almost, when I say New England, Connecticut, you're almost forced, not forced, but like the Patriots, right? But when
I was
Tom
afraid you were
Brady,
going to say that.
I knew.
Yeah.
Hold on. So what I will say is I was more of a Tom Brady fan, like a lot of people, but not because he's a winner. It was because of his work ethic, and when you notice the guys that he was playing around him, they wanted to play with him, and that's because he took care of them. And that's that same mentality I try to take within our 41 team. But so I guess really to answer that question for you guys, like, yeah, I'm a fan. I watch it on Thursdays and Sundays. But am I a diehard to where I know every single player? Not so much. I spend my time working on street cars and race cars, so that's kind of the lane I choose to stay in.
I mean, if there's going to be something to do other than football, that's a pretty cool avenue. So I respect it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how you hone your craft. That's how you get better at what you're doing in your respective sport, man. I mean, I've always looked at that, like, when you are an athlete, regardless of what people want to call you, driver, athlete. I mean, you're an athlete, and when you're an athlete, you're focused on your game, and that's how you get good at your game. So I appreciate that stuff too. Going into your family life, man. I saw you recently have had your first child, man, a little girl. How does it feel to be a papa?
Man, it feels awesome. What I can say is my wife and I both have. My wife actually used to race. That's how I met her, but she enjoyed riding horses. I enjoy race cars, so I think it's kind of been a battle right now. Of she brings our daughter out to the barn, and is like, "Oh, check this horse out," and I'm like, when my wife goes away and she's laying in my arm, I'm playing race car noises and street car noises, and like, you're gonna like street cars. We're gonna stay away from the horses. But it's been awesome, life changing, man.
That's how you do it, man. You start that young, like it's like the BB Einstein when you listen to him and the stuff. Like, nah, it's just you put the speaker there and like it just flourishes like a beautiful like checkered flag flower. So that's the way you do it.
Yeah, you sparked the idea. Maybe because I need a tuner for one of my cars I'm working on right now. I need to just play YouTube videos so she'll be some genius tuner at the age of like 12.
There you go.
She can tune all these cars.
Just put her in the little baby bouncer in the garage.
Yeah,
she's in the baby bouncer in the garage, dude. I mean, you're set, dude. I mean, there's no getting away from that.
I joked with my wife earlier. I said to her, I was like, "Hey, if you need a break, just bring her over to my shop. We can just sit her on the table." Like, I think she read through what I was trying to do, but yeah.
She knows motives. Yeah.
There's another thing we on this program, and I'm telling you, this has worked. All right, this has been a thing. It exists. Everybody wins after they have a kid. I'm telling you, there's like this juju around it. Everybody, after they have a baby, they win races. So I think now that we've brought this up, we're imposing a little bit of good luck on you. Heading into Daytona, heading into the rest of the season, you got to feel pretty good about it. I'm telling you, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, whatever. No. Everybody wins after they have a kid. Fact.
Oof. Man, I really hope you're right. That would be great, especially this weekend, right?
Yeah, it would be, dude. If I saw that car, if we see that car in Victory Lane at Daytona for the Coke Zero Sugar 400, bro, dude, it's gonna be. I'm gonna buy the diecast for one for sure. We're gonna go wild with it, man.
Hey, tell us about Race Choice. We talked about how good that scheme looks. We were talking about it before we started recording a little bit. Well, tell us about racechoice.com.
Yeah, so racechoice.com is a crazy story. So being from Connecticut, there's a group that they're from Middletown, Connecticut, and they really wanted to grow this brand. They were just starting a few years ago with this website, and and selling parts, safety equipment, everything. So really, it was an avenue for racers to go on and buy product or get something, from a local distributor, and it's really grown so much since then. And what I really like about their brand is they're so creative and open to doing different things with me or other drivers locally in Connecticut. So the whole connection started from it's a business that was 8 minutes away from where I grew up, and I just happened to meet him, a few years ago, and it's grown into what it is now. And he loves racing himself, and the whole team of them, they employ some local racers that work within their facility, and it's just a great brand. It's a brand that, I feel like a lot of race fans can get behind if you're gonna go on the website, and if you need, not even if you aren't a racer yourself and you don't need toe plates or anything like that, they have other stuff on that website that is general use. So it's a really great avenue and something that we continue to build.
Love that. Well, that car is going to look good under the lights, so we're excited for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you are not going to be able to miss it.
Not at all. That's why I say pink and blue, man. You can't go wrong with them neon colors like that, man.
Yeah.
So I guess last thing we're going to cover, we talked about a good bit of music in the beginning of this episode, and I felt like it was only appropriate if we did a little bit of 90s rap trivia with you, Ryan.
I'm going to warn you guys, and don't hold this against me. I'm terrible when it comes to tests. Like my wife, same thing. She'll just start asking me questions, things that I know, and I'll just freeze. But when it comes to racing, I don't freeze. I don't know. It's completely polar opposite.
We're putting the pressure on you.
Yeah, I feel like you can do good with this. So look, we got 5 songs we've picked out. And what we're going to do is we're going to read some bars from these songs, and we're going to see if you can correctly guess what song it is. And it's from these artists that we've talked about a lot. So it's like a lot of the heavy artists that you listen to in this rotation. So, we'll see what the score is afterwards. I would say a 3 out of 5 would be good to aim for. You having a little bit of worries right now, having just flutters, but we'll go for it. Let's kick this thing off. So I'm going to start it off. First song. All right, so here's a bar from it. Pink Gators, my Detroit players, Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn.
That's notorious. Man, see, it's tough. Like, I know it's notorious because I know that line. I just can't remember what it leads into, and I almost
Dude, we're halfway there. We're halfway there.
Yeah, and that's on my – hold on. That's on my playlist.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is bad because this is what it is. I'm terrible with the names of the songs.
All right, we'll give you
Who Shot You?
No, not Who Shot You. We'll give you like an out. Like you can ask for another bar if you want another bar. We'll give you an extra bar if you want one, if that might help.
If you give me an extra bar to closer to where the line is, I mean the only other, give me the loop.
All right, here we go. Dead right, in the head right. If the head right, Biggie there every night. Papa been smooth since days of Underoos.
Yeah, give me the loop. Give me the loop. I'm a bad boy. Yeah, it's give me the loop.
No.
What?
It failed.
Come on. All right, I'm telling you, it's gonna be bad.
All right.
What is it then?
It's Hypnotize by Biggie.
Hypnotize.
Hypnotize.
Really?
Biggie, can't you see? Papa been
No, yeah.
days of Underoos, never lose.
And hold on. So this is where I'm telling you guys, I'm terrible at guessing song names. So this is gonna be a bust.
It's okay. This is tough. They got a new show on TV, Ryan, where like people have to go sing lyrics, and I was like, oh, I could do that, and then they start doing it, and I'm like, dang, I don't know songs as well as I thought. I get you're not alone,
Yeah.
And look, we were talking about rap in general. There's a little bit of an age gap. I think Lil Wayne is the greatest rapper of all time. That's my generation. I love Wayne.
I'm with you.
Hold on, real quick. Hold on. You were born in the late 90s, weren't you?
Yes.
That's why. Yep.
Ryan Preece, rap expert, right? Just good at the timing. Yeah, no, I think you're 32, right? I'm 5 years behind you. So yeah. We grew up listening to Lil Wayne like nonstop.
I'm 31. So. I think it's just a Louisiana, Mississippi. Like I'm from the New Orleans area, so for me, like Wayne is like, I love him.
Well, the reason I say that is because most people that are big fans of Lil Wayne it was kind of like the 96 to early 2000 kids.
For sure.
Where if you were 94 or kind of under, you were aiming towards Notorious, Tupac, and all those guys.
They don't know
that's like
about
right on
Hot
the money.
Boys though. They don't know about Hot Boys. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Hot Boys was late '90s with Wayne when he was a child.
I know about that.
You
But
know
I'm
about it?
I'm Carter 3, Carter 4 guy.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. Which is good too.
Let's get another one here. This song, I'll give a hint. It was featured on the movie Pineapple Express at one point. I don't know if you've seen that. Classic. Dead Souls. This is for Wally. Easy. C's Uncle C Charlie or Uncle Charlie. I'm very monotoned. I'm not going to give you much tone here.
That's a hard one.
Is that a hard one?
I
don't really know this song super well.
Very tough.
What's another popular lyric?
You're giving him like A+ hard like bars, and I love
Chase, you said that was the best lyric to give him because I don't know.
But now I understand. Now it's different.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have no idea.
All right, this one is The Crossroads by Bone Thugs and Harmony.
So you got to sing that. Okay. It is, but like I didn't know. You might have came in here and been lights out with this, so I had no clue.
Nah, man.
Let's you want to just do one more?
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is gonna be a total letdown.
Dude, I think it's great.
I warned you from the get-go.
This is fun. All right.
Like I'm gonna add some more on here later on, but when it comes to lyrics, I like I said, when we're working, this is the style of music I listen to.
All right, I got one for you. I'm gonna try to make this as easy as possible. This is the last one I'm gonna give you. All right, here we go. Y'all know how this go. All Eyes on Me, OG.
Oh, All Eyes on Me by Tupac.
See, there you go.
All right, we got one.
There you go.
I got one.
You can throw it on here.
Yeah, you got one.
Yeah,
we got it. I help out. I care.
Yeah.
Dude, that was great though, man. This is good stuff. It's good to finally get to catch up with you. Good to get to know you a little bit better, man. I know we've been talking about doing this and on and off for a while, so it was great, dude. And I can't wait to get back out to a track and kick it with you. And just good luck to you the rest of the season, man. I can't wait to see some more of these short tracks. He's coming. He's coming, Garage fam that are watching this out there. He's coming. I'm telling you, the short track man himself. He's been rolling them Mad Max Wheelen Modifieds for a while. I called them Wheelen Modifieds. Did you hear that? I think I'm gonna start. We'll do that. The Wheelen Modified. He's been rolling. I'm spitting too hard now. I gotta stop.
Get into too much of it.
Good, man. It's awesome. Yeah.
I love it.
Hey guys, thank you for having me on. It was cool. It was fun.
Absolutely.
Hey, what's the motto? One more time. The one motto, the good juju motto. I told you.
Having a kid.
Everybody wins after they have a kid, baby. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, then oof. It might be a busy few years.
We believe that's what counts here. All right, Ryan. Well, thanks so much. And just for the sake of it, where can everybody follow you and find all your social media content?
Yeah, just type in Ryan Preece. There might have to be an underscore on Instagram or Twitter. I'm not really sure, but just type in Ryan Preece. You'll find me.
Awesome. All right. Well, this has been Garage Talk. I'm Chase Holden. That's Dale Tanhardt. Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks, guys.